Hey 302, I'm Jackie Ferris. This week we're at the Center for Creative Arts where we're checking out all of the interesting and cool ways you can get your artistic swerve on. Pick up a brush, you're creating a masterpiece with the 302. Hey 302, we are at the Center for Creative Arts and I'm joined by the Executive Director, Melissa Palercho. Melissa, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
There is so much that goes on in this building and you're like one of the best kept secrets and you've got to get out there. So tell us more about just the programming that you offer here.
Sure, so we are a year-round community arts center. We offer classes and workshops in 4 semesters, fall, winter, spring, and summer. We also have a 10-week summer camp that's for students ages 5 to 14, as well as having a teen internship program that goes with that. So we have teen teaching artists who come in and help the young ones learn about art during the summer. We also have quite a few community events here at the center, including Hot Jam, which is our music festival, happens outside in September. It's incredible. Typically, it's a celebration of a historical musical event and local music. We also have the Yorkland Storytelling Festival, that's in October. And November brings our annual artisan show where we welcome 46 to 50 local artists to come in. They take over the entire center and sell their handmade wares. So we have jewelry, we have wearables, there's fine art. So just in time, right before the holiday season, you can get a beautiful handcrafted one-of-a-kind gift.
So let's break that down because that's a lot of information. So let's start with the art. If somebody is out there and they're thinking to themselves, I've always wanted to be creative, what kind of classes, and can you just come off the street and attend a class, of course registering, but the skill level wise?
Sure, so a part of our mission here at the Center for the Creative Arts is to provide high quality arts programming to students of all ages and abilities. So if you're just curious about a new art form, you can come in, register, and join a class and learn about something new. If you're a more advanced student, we also have advanced and intermediate classes where you can sharpen those skills, learn from a wide variety of incredibly talented and qualified teaching artists.
So when you said they're very talented teaching artists. What kinds of things are they teaching?
We teach glass fusion. We teach painting and drawing of all different types of medias. So we have oil painting, watercolor, acrylic painting in several different techniques. We have drawing fundamentals classes as well as portrait drawing or more specific drawing classes. We offer a wide variety of ceramics classes for a bunch of different ages as well. We also do a lot of mixed media for our younger students. But because we're dedicated to all the arts, we also have theater. So we do theater for children and teens and adults. We also have music classes, private music lessons if you're interested in, say, learning the piano or the violin, as well as ballet. We have adult ballet currently running and Irish step dancing, which is a class you don't see run very many places. So we do have that on Saturday mornings and Wednesday evenings. So lots of different options and varieties, depends on just what you wanted to try.
So typically, what do the classes run? Are they expensive or?
Depends. Workshops can be as little as $30 and classes typically run anywhere between $130 to $250. It just depends. Part of making our programming accessible for us here at the center, we offer scholarships for all ages and abilities. So people just have to apply and let us know why they're interested in taking class at the center and some other financial details, and we can sometimes provide a scholarship to help because we don't want economics to be a barrier for anyone to be able to experience the arts. I've been working since I got here in June. One of my main missions has been to help grow our scholarship fund. So we've been doing quite a few initiatives recently to help expand that pool of funds so that money isn't a barrier for people. They can come in and take some of our excellent art classes whenever they'd like.
Now, you also mentioned music. Talk to me a little bit more about the festivals. I mean, you had what, 2 or 3 festivals that you have?
So we actually have quite a wide variety of options. So anyone can participate in our open mic night. So open mic night happens the 3rd Thursday of every month. We've had musicians, jugglers, poets, a wide variety of artists come, and you get a 10-minute time slot and you can do whatever you like in that time slot. So that's for anybody who'd like to participate. There is an application process for our Hot Jam Music Festival, and the Storytelling Festival is typically all programmed with nationally renowned storytellers, but there is an open mic portion of that program as well, which makes it really accessible. You'll notice around the room right now we have a lot of art on the walls. That is from our Fun-A-Day partnership, and anyone can participate in that. So we actually have, because we serve a wide variety, we try to make sure that there are entry points for everybody. So for people continuing their craft or people just starting.
Now, I know that you have some artisans that are here now that are selling their wares. What's that all about?
So that's our Delaware Fun-A-Day program. We work with the official Delaware Fun-A-Day organization. And this year they had over 350 artists participate in Makers Month, which was the month of February. We challenge artists of really all ages and abilities to create a piece of art every single day in the month of February. And then we have a big art gallery opening, and the gallery stays open for about 10 days. So you'll notice we have young participants, we have seniors, we have professional artists as well as amateurs. I actually participated this year, which was really cool. I'm not a visual artist, but I got inspired by noticing, getting all the updates from people and seeing how many people were participating. So I decided to participate this year myself, and it was quite, it was an incredible experience. It really reminded me how important it is to self-expression, how important art can be to self-expression, because it was a way for me to channel some of that, get some of that out.
Now, I know that there's going to be a lot of people that are going to see this and they're going to want to get involved. They're going to take classes and come to the festivals. So do you have a website, Facebook, Instagram?
We do. You can check us out on the web at ccarts.org. Or we're on Facebook, Center for the Creative Arts, same thing, Instagram, it's all spelled out, Center for the Creative Arts, so that's a little long, but we frequently post about what we're doing on all of those media channels, so people can check us out there.
Excellent, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Kim Collison, Curator of Exhibitions at Winter Museum in Delaware. We're exploring women's history on the 302.
Welcome back. We're at the Center for Creative Arts, and I'm here with Heidi Benson. She is an artist and one of the teachers. Let's talk a little bit about, painting. I know a lot of people want to paint, but they're intimidated because they don't think they have enough talent to be able to paint.
Well, my personal philosophy after all these years has been that being a person that has creative skills, that feels empowered in that, is a way to really tap into your total health, mind, body, and soul. So the process of art making is physical. Process can be as meaningful to someone as an individual as making art, which is the product, which is about you as a person and your personal journey. So sometimes art can be incredibly personal, or it can be actually a product that then you become an artist, and I produce a piece of work to be used or perceived by the public. But really, art can be simply a process that's incredibly satisfying, and that's where I think art is often connected with the idea of therapy, because it is a personal journey and it can be a really great catharsis of change and thinking, because art doesn't happen without thinking. So there's process, there's ideas, there's concepts, there's subject matter, there's all different layers, like an onion, to sort of approach the concept of the visual arts. But I find that art is something that is a basic skill. I think really it's as basic as reading and writing. Everyone should be able to be conceptualized visually. And with that empowerment, then they have lots more choices in their life about how they're using visual imagery and how they're responding to it.
So it's getting over your own fear and just deciding how
Absolutely.
you're going to start. You
There's
have a
no
couple-
fear.
Yeah.
There's not even really, if you think about all of the aspects of the visual arts, is there anything that's similar? Is there anything that's universally considered right or perfect? So everybody's process is as important as anybody else's. And I'm here as an art teacher to offer ways for you to be as successful, a catalyst, so to speak, as you personally can feel empowered. And then you can go forward on your own personal journey.
So let's talk a little bit about some of the examples that you have here. Let's talk about the landscape here. Is this something that someone might be able to tackle, right out of the gate?
Well, I break everything down. I've been teaching almost 40 years in the public sector, preparing students for post-secondary art careers and study. And I really, teaching is the best teacher.
Sure.
And so you realize that you can break things down to sequences and thought processes, and you hear a lot of great questions. And so you help people seek. And then they can find in their own personal journey a lot of the answers. So I was talking about, for instance, the landscape. What inspires you? What inspires you is really important in your life, isn't it? So that's exactly where the art becomes a personal importance to you and really takes significance. So a series of landscapes, I work a lot in landscapes, but they all have a personal meaning for me. And you would work, for instance, in multiple media. You would repeat the same subject matter. You can have the color studies in watercolor first to test out ideas, and then work with maybe quick collages in mixed media, and then work up to perhaps an oil if that's the size and the scale. I like to work with a lot of texture. I do tend to abstract a little bit. And so I like to work large so I can work with big brushes.
So, but you also have 2 examples of still life, and those are
Yes.
really amazing.
Well,
that
it was
requires a little more skill, I would
Well, I
imagine.
was an AP art history teacher as well. And so to bring the idea, sort of a curatorship idea, like a museum would be in presenting of objects, I like to have people connect to forms and images and think about their personal relationship to those in history or through art or through their experiences with other artworks. And so each piece has its own meaning, but it also relates to each other in a series of artworks as well. So I do have a particular passion for the still life object too.
Well, those are gorgeous. The one's a milk carton, one's a milk bottle, right?
Yes, thank you.
And just the colors are amazing. So when it comes to painting, are there rules for color?
I think every art teacher is a little different. Because of my, I tend to be a science person as well as a writer, and so my science approach is that color is science. So I really like to break it down for you so you can really understand the palette. For instance, one of my students are overwhelmed with color, and I might say, for instance, just start right now with a warm version of every color in the rainbow, a warm red and a cool red, a warm blue and a cool blue, and then start mixing them together. Never work with just one color out of the tube, and then get to know your color wheel. I mean, the rainbow is for a reason. And so that starts to have a relationship in color mixing. Then your confidence starts to evolve. And again, you have more success. So then your personal ideas have a vehicle to be seen, that you actually have fruition, you actually succeed in your personal ideas.
So if someone wanted to start painting and they didn't know where to start, so they sign up for a class, or maybe they're too intimidated and they're just going to go down to the store and they're going to buy the paint. What is the just to get them out the gate tip would you give an artist?
I say just get in the classroom. Although we don't have to have academic training to be an art maker, academic training is what gives you the confidence to then go on your own and keep working, keeping that discipline, keeping that playfulness, experimenting, the grit of repetition and practice. Yeah. So a good teacher makes a difference.
Well, it sounds like you're a fantastic teacher.
Well, I definitely have the passion, that's for sure.
Well, thank you, Heidi, for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome. Please, everybody take a class. Yeah.
Take a class. You heard it here.
Go for it.
We'll be right back.
My name's John Constantino with Walter Steakhouse in Wilmington, Delaware. Happy birthday, 302.
Welcome back. We are now downstairs in the ceramics studio. I'm joined by ceramics instructor Tia Santana. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, this is one of the most exciting, I think, arts that people get involved in, but a lot of people are a little intimidated. Can you walk me through the process?
It's a very meditative process. It's a very hands-on process. So our students come in, and depending on what they want to learn, it can be a skill building process where some of the students want to come in and learn how to make something functional like a cup or dinnerware, or it can be a meditative process and an experience where people just want to touch the clay and experience what the clay feels like, and just to make something and be creative.
So when you're creating something, whether it's a bowl or a vase or something like that, it's all about knowing the pressure and how to work the clay?
Yes, so our students come in, and the first class they take will be a beginner's class, a beginner throwing class. And what they learn in that class is how to center the clay, which is what I'm doing now. So they learn how to get the clay into a position where they can make a vessel. So they're centering, and they're learning how to pull it up, pull it down, open it up, and get it ready to become an object.
And what kind of clay is typically used for ceramic?
We use a white stoneware clay. It's very flexible, it's appropriate, and it's good for both hand building and throwing. Not only do we offer throwing classes, we also offer hand building classes. So the clay is flexible for both classes.
Now, is hand building a little more difficult than using a potter's wheel?
I say it's about preference. Potter's wheel is more about a skill. Like you're definitely working on creating a skill and learning how to use the techniques that you're being taught. It's more like a trade. So you can definitely learn those skills. I think that hand building is also the same. I think it's just about a preference. Some people like to feel the clay in between their hands, and then some people more like the creativity of being able to build something and create without being on the wheel.
So typically, how long does it take before you feel like you get the confidence that you need to, make something that I made that?
I believe that each person, each individual student is different. We have some students who will come in and they will learn how to center possibly in maybe the first session of classes in like a 10-week class. They'll grab those skills and they'll build the confidence. And then there are some students who may not grab it as quickly, however they enjoy the experience. So maybe it takes them a little longer. However, each individual person has their own journey.
And that's the important thing, is just to enjoy the process.
Correct. It's very process oriented. It's just about the person exploring and experiencing the feel of the clay, whether you're hand building or if you're throwing.
So you should go at your own pace, because eventually you'll get there, right?
Yes, I think that the most important thing to remember when you're learning a skill or you're learning how to build something on the wheel is to remember to have fun and that it is a process.
So once you figure out what it is you want your object to look like, once you're at that point where you're done throwing or working it by hand, what's the next step?
I think that, so there's a few different steps. So one is getting comfortable with the material. When if you're taking a class, you're just experimenting and exploring and getting the feel of what it feels like. Then we like to teach our students to create with a purpose. So maybe they have a design or an idea in their head. So I like to teach them to execute that design, what they have in their head, from paper then to the wheel to product. So instead of just creating a form or allowing the form to dictate what you're going to create, because that's what happens when you're a beginner. The form will you'll kind of just go along with the form. But then when you gain some skill, you'll know how to make a curved vessel. You'll know how to make it skinnier at the top. But you have to learn the techniques before you can get there.
So when you get to that point, I mean, obviously this has got to be put in a kiln, right?
Correct. We have 3 kilns here at CC Arts, and we fire the work for our students. The first step would be that this would be fired once, and this is the bisqueware stage. So once it dries, it's greenware. After the greenware stage, it goes into a kiln and we bisque it. The second stage is to glaze it, which is, some people would say painting, which is what we're doing. We're painting on a glaze, and then that gets fired again, and that's the glaze, and then you have your final piece.
And there's all kinds of glazes. I mean,
Yes, we have in our studio next door, we have in our glaze room, we have about 12 working glazes that our students can choose from, and we have a variety of maybe 20 under glazes they can choose from.
so the shape is one thing, but the glaze it's like 2 characters in a cast of characters, right?
Yes. So there are many artists who spend their entire careers studying glazes and studying the outcome of combining glazes. You can have a variety of glaze techniques. There's painting on the glazes, there's dipping the glazes, there's dripping the glazes, there's rolling and brushing and sponging on the glazes. So it's just, and your first experience is basically trial and error to a certain point, or just trying to figure out what type of glaze you like.
Excellent. Well, it seems like it's something that's a lot of fun to do.
I think that clay is very fun and very meditative if you don't take yourself too serious. It's got to be something that you're doing and you feel that you're connecting with the experience, and if you can connect with the experience and not take yourself serious, then it's a lot of fun.
Excellent. Well, Tia, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. For more information on all the cool things you can do here at the Center for Creative Arts, visit ccarts.org. That'll do it for this episode of The 302. We leave you now with some of the amazing creations from the Center's students. Until next time, I'm Jackie Ferris. We'll see you on The 302.